Nice bit of rain happening outside the studio today. Oh well, this is a good opportunity to make this video on the Nikon Z52, and I want to share my honest thoughts on it after owning it for 1 year. I'm going to start this video off by heading back to November 2024 when I first bought the Nikon Z52, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why. So back in November 2024, my then YouTube studio and vlogging camera ran into some issues and wasn't working anymore. I was on the lookout for a new camera and noticed Nikon had announced the Z52. I liked the specs, the compact size, and the fact that it had a flip out rear screen so I can see myself framing wise. The Z52 had the XSpeed7 processor in it, the same processor as you get in the more expensive full frame Nikon cameras like the Z8 and Z9. Now, as most of you know who watch my channel, I mostly do reviews on camera gear, things like lenses. A good majority of the time, the lenses I review are third-party APS-C lenses. Previously, I used to use my full-frame Nikon Z7 to review those APS-C lenses, but I finally thought it was time to buy a dedicated crop sensor Z-mount camera I could review those crop sensor lenses with. So I mainly bought the Nikon Z52 to be my new studio camera. In fact, I'm filming on it right now. There it is. It's doing its job just nicely there. So the camera has also been brilliant for doing those APS-C or DX lens reviews as well. But what I learned quickly with the Nikon Z52 was that it was more than just a camera I could shoot YouTube videos and do lens reviews with. With the internal XSpeed7 processor, it gave the Z52 a great variety of different focusing abilities on things like animals, birds, cars, aircraft, and more. I even tried it out with some old F-mount lenses via the FDZ2 adapter. So I tried teaming the Nikon Z52 up with my Nikon Z180 to 600mm VR lens. And all I can say is, wow. When I put that lens on the Z52, I got a full frame equivalent focal length of 270mm to 900mm. This meant I could use this combo for things like bird photography. And without going too much on about it, it did a brilliant job. And I was super happy with the images and video I was able to capture. Having that extra reach with this Nikon Z180 to 600mm lens on the Nikon Z52 meant I could capture so many more things as well, not just birds. I was able to capture and video a variety of things far off in the distance, like this one morning where I captured some whales breaching out in the ocean. And I also captured a surf life-saving helicopter carrying out some exercises to rescue people from rough surf conditions. I even shot the moon eclipse one night, and the shots in both stills and video turned out really well. Another thing that appealed to me with the Nikon Z52 was it had the ability to shoot up to 4K 60p, but that is with a crop, using H.265 and log raw. This gave me greater control when it comes to grading my video shots in post-production. I tried using the Nikon Z52 for some astrophotography about middle way through the year. The Z52 actually surprised me and did a brilliant job. One thing I had learned, like the more expensive Nikon Z8 and Z9 cameras, the Z52 has the starlight view feature in it. This helps you to compose your shot in pure darkness, and I was impressed Nikon had actually put this feature in a supposed entry-level camera. Okay, so predominantly the Nikon Z52, for me anyway, has been a brilliant camera. But no camera is really perfect, is it? Let me talk about some of the cons I discovered with the Z52. Firstly, when I unboxed the Z52, I noticed you don't get a battery charger with it. Yeah, I know. A lot of big companies are doing that nowadays, using the whole, it minimizes waste as an excuse. So I had to go out and buy myself a compatible spec USB charger before I could use the camera. Next was the poor battery life. Even though Nikon had said they put a Nikon EN-EL25A battery in it, it didn't last long, especially when you're shooting a lot of video or doing rapid fire shots while doing bird and wildlife photography. You've got a lot going on under the hood of the Z52, kind of like having a V8 motor in a Toyota Corolla. So it performs, but man, is it thirsty. Now, luckily to help this problem, I found this dual battery charger from K&F Concept, where they give you 2 extra batteries along with the charger. And as it turns out, these batteries actually lasted longer in the Z52 than the supplied Nikon battery. I'll leave you a link in the video description box below to where I got it from. Oh, and if you want to save yourself some time and money on buying a dedicated USB-C charger like I did, then this K&F Concept dual charger also charges the Nikon battery you get with the Nikon Z52. I don't get any kickbacks or commission from this, by the way. This is just to help out fellow photographers and saving them some money. You're welcome. So I now have 3 batteries for the Z52, and I find that is more than enough to last me a full day out shooting. Another thing you'll have to keep in mind, the Nikon Z52 doesn't have any inbuilt VR like the Nikon Z full frame cameras. So if you plan on doing a lot of video handheld or photography in low light using slow shutter speeds, you may want to lean towards dedicated DX or FX lenses that have inbuilt VR. Something like the Nikon Z DX 18-140mm or the Nikon Z 180-600mm as examples. Lastly, and I only discovered this just recently, I don't know if this only happens to the Z52 per se, or just mirrorless cameras in general that have electronic viewfinders. When I was doing bird photography in a dimly lit rainforest recently, I noticed I was having difficulty seeing well camouflaged birds through the EVF. I'd take my eye away from the viewfinder and I could see the bird, no problem. But when I put my eye back to the viewfinder, it was really hard to see. I mentioned this in the video I was doing at the time. If perhaps I had an OVF or an optical viewfinder like those on DSLRs, I'd be able to focus manually and get the shots I was continually missing with the Z52. You know, I've actually had some people message me here on my channel, and they've told me that they bought the Nikon Z52 as a backup camera for their Z8 and Z9 cameras. I guess that says a lot about a supposedly entry-level mirrorless camera. In the year I've had it, the Nikon Z52 has done everything I needed it to do and more. When going traveling or hiking now, I tend to just take the Z52 with me along with a couple of lenses because it's not only compact and lightweight, but it's a powerhouse in a lot of different types of photography and videography I like to do. The Nikon Z52 for me has been reliable, easy to operate, delivers great images, and above all else, it's just fun to use. Do I think you should buy the Nikon Z52? Well, I don't really know because everyone is different in their photography needs. Only you know the type of photography that you like to do. And you have to work out what type of camera is going to suit you best. But in saying that, I hope by sharing my experiences with the Nikon Z52 after 1 year has helped guide you in your decision making. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a fantastic day or night wherever you're watching this video from. I'll see you next time.